God says, do not delay. What's inside this message will restore what was lost, but only if you open it in time. My radiant soul, something holy is shifting around you right now. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward with a message he has been trying to deliver to you for days. He says, do not delay. What's inside this message will restore what was lost, but only if you open it in time. And today you opened it. That alone is a sign that heaven has aligned your spirit with divine timing. Listen closely, because the moment you clicked on this message, the atmosphere around your home changed. The angels paused. The spiritual clock shifted. A gate opened. And Archangel Michael is whispering that you have crossed a threshold that many people miss simply because they scroll too fast, doubt too much, or ignore the quiet pull of the spirit. But you didn't. Your spirit recognized something. Something familiar. Something urgent. Heaven says you have been carrying the weight of something you lost. Something that slipped through your fingers. Something taken too soon. Something that felt like it died before it could bloom. For some, it was peace. For some, confidence. For some, a relationship or a dream. For others, it was time years you thought were wasted. Archangel Michael stands at your door right now. Not a physical door, but the door of your next chapter, holding a blazing sword of restoration. Not destruction, restoration. And he says there is a reason this message found you at the exact moment it did. Not earlier, not later, right now. Because heaven works by timing, not coincidence. You have been sensing something around you. Shifts, signs, repeated numbers, sudden memories resurfacing, dreams that feel too real to be random. He wants you to know, none of it was accidental. These were signals that something was returning to you, something spiritually marked with your name. But it could not come back until you were spiritually awake enough to hear instruction. And today you are awake. Archangel Michael says someone tried to delay you, distract you, or drain your energy before you could reach this moment. A spiritual interference tried to cloud your mind so you would miss this restoration window. And many times, you felt tired for no reason, frustrated without cause, overwhelmed by things you couldn't explain. That was the resistance. That was the delay. But heaven says that barrier is breaking even as you listen. Something lost is coming back, but not in the fragile form you remember. It is returning healed, strengthened, upgraded, and drenched in divine favor. Think of a seed buried underground. It never returns the same way it was planted. It comes back multiplied. Archangel Michael says your restoration will not be quiet. It will not be small. It will not be hidden. It will arrive in a way that shows you heaven did not forget you, and time did not erase what God promised you. But there is more, a layer you need to hear. He wants you to understand that restoration does not only return what was taken, it also exposes what caused the loss in the first place. Something or someone in your past season was pulling from you, draining from you, weakening your spirit without you realizing the depth of the impact. You blamed yourself. You thought it was your fault. But Archangel Michael says that loss was not a punishment. It was protection. You were separated from something because it would have destroyed your future if it stayed. What you thought was brokenness was actually God redirecting you. And now, because you listened to the divine nudge and opened this message, you are re-entering the time window where what you lost can be restored without the baggage that once surrounded it. This is why Archangel Michael says, do not delay. Every second you lean into this message, every breath you take while listening, pulls you deeper into alignment. There are spiritual instructions being whispered into your atmosphere right now. your spirit is absorbing more than your ears are hearing. This is not just a video. This is a divine appointment. Pay attention. Your body may feel chills, warmth, heaviness lifting, or an unexplainable peace washing over you. These are not emotions. These are confirmations. Signs that your restoration has already begun. Something big is unfolding in your life. Something the enemy thought you would never see. Something your past self hoped for, but never knew how to receive. Archangel Michael says you are moments away from the first sign of it. Stay with me, because the next revelation will show you why your restoration was delayed, who tried to block it, and how heaven is about to accelerate everything that once seemed slow. Before we move further into the deeper layers of this message, pause for one breath and anchor this moment in your spirit. Because what comes next will shift your understanding of your entire last season. Trust me, you will want to hear what's ahead. It carries a key that unlocks the restoration that has been hovering around you, waiting for this moment. Type "I open the gate" in the comments if this message is stirring your spirit. Blessing code 441 has just been released. Beloved heart of light, as you step deeper into this divine revelation, Archangel Michael draws closer, and his presence wraps around you like a mantle of clarity. He says there is something you need to understand about the loss you carried, something hidden beneath the surface that you never saw, something that shaped your path without your permission. You thought the loss was random, unfair, or simply one of life's painful turns. But heaven now reveals that it was woven into a much larger spiritual pattern, a pattern designed to reroute you into a destiny that could not be reached in your previous environment. Archangel Michael shows me an image of you walking with weight on your shoulders, not because you were weak, but because you were loyal to people, places, and situations that were not loyal back. You gave your heart, your energy, your time, your trust, and in return, you were drained in silence. Some people around you saw your light, but never celebrated it. Some depended on your strength, but never once asked what you needed. Some clung to you because your presence brought comfort, clarity, or stability, yet they offered none of that back to your spirit. And while you tried to stay strong, there were nights you lay awake wondering why certain things kept slipping away from you. Archangel Michael says the loss you experienced did not happen because you were unworthy. It happened because your spirit was being pulled away from misalignment. The places where your potential could not thrive began to collapse. The connections that were tied to your stagnation began to break. The paths that would have led you into more confusion began to close. Heaven was not taking from you. Heaven was clearing a space for what was always meant to bloom. But here is the part you never realized. Something was fighting the restoration meant for you. Something was resisting your elevation. Something was trying to distract you long enough that you would miss the exact spiritual timing you are now stepping into. And Archangel Michael says this resistance did not come from your imagination. It was real, subtle, and persistent. It showed up as sudden emotional heaviness, constant tiredness, unexplained anxiety, and moments where you felt mentally blocked for no reason. It showed up as delays, slow progress, unexpected setbacks, and opportunities slipping through your fingers. Heaven says the reason this happened is because restoration always comes with a battle. Whenever destiny is about to reposition someone, the spiritual world shifts first. Every major change in your life begins in the unseen before it shows up in the natural. And the moment heaven prepared your restoration, the resistance tried to cloud your discernment, so you wouldn't recognize the door when it opened. But this is where things change. Archangel Michael says your opening of this message proves that the resistance failed. You crossed into a moment that cannot be reversed. A moment where the hands of heaven are placing back into your life what was taken, stolen, delayed, or hidden. But what's returning is not coming back in pieces. It is coming back in fullness. It is coming back purified. It is coming back strengthened. It is coming back accompanied by opportunities you once believed were lost forever. And now heaven asks you to look deeper into your recent experiences. Think about the strange heaviness you felt. Think about the moments of sudden frustration. Think about the unexpected memories from your past appearing in your mind again. Think about the way certain people resurfaced or disappeared. Think about the sudden changes in your emotional landscape. These were not random. These were signs of spiritual turnover. Archangel Michael wants you to know that your spirit has been undergoing a reset. Restoration does not only give back what was lost, it rewrites the atmosphere that caused the loss. It pulls you out of patterns you never recognized you were in. It places you in alignment with what God originally planned for you before fear, disappointment, or delay distorted your view. Heaven highlights that the place you are stepping into now will feel different. Your energy will shift. Your clarity will sharpen. Your intuition will grow. Your discernment will increase. You will start seeing people's intentions clearly. You will start understanding the lessons hidden behind past pain. You will begin noticing blessings forming long before they manifest. And for the first time in a long time, you will feel your spirit rising instead of collapsing. This is why Archangel Michael told you not to delay. Restoration has a window. When heaven opens that window, those who are spiritually awake walk through it and receive what others miss. And you, by listening, by staying, by leaning into this message, have positioned yourself inside that window. You did not miss the moment. You did not miss the blessing. You did not miss the shift. You are right where you need to be. But there is more. There is something specific about the restoration that is coming to you. It carries redemption. It carries justice. It carries divine compensation. You are not just getting back what was lost. You are being upgraded into a version of yourself that will attract better opportunities, better connections, better outcomes, and better seasons. The old is not returning. The healed is returning. And now, as you breathe through this moment, Archangel Michael prepares to reveal the deeper truth behind the delay. You are about to discover why your restoration needed this exact timing and what heaven has been preparing behind the scenes. Stay with me, because what unfolds next will answer questions you've held for years, questions you never dared to say out loud. You are closer than you think, and the next revelation will open your understanding in a way that shifts your entire perspective. Before you move forward, pause your spirit and anchor this moment. Something sacred is unfolding, and you will want to stay connected to what comes next. Hold on. This next part will open the sealed chapter of your restoration. Type "I step into restoration" in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 909 has now been released. Precious one of divine timing. As you step into this next unveiling, Archangel Michael's voice becomes even clearer, almost as if the veil around your spirit is being lifted layer by layer. He says you have reached the point where heaven is ready to expose the deeper truth behind your delay, the root of what held you back, and the reason your restoration required this exact moment, not a moment earlier. For years you have carried questions without answers, prayers without clarity, and burdens without explanation. You asked yourself why certain things didn't work, why certain relationships faded, why certain dreams paused mid-journey, why the path suddenly went silent when you needed guidance the most. Today, heaven brings understanding. Archangel Michael reveals that the timing of restoration was not about punishment or distance. It was about protection. There was something in your past season that was not equipped to hold the blessing you were meant to receive. A person, a circumstance, a mindset, or a spiritual environment lacked the stability or purity to sustain what God was preparing for you. You were ready to move forward, but your surroundings were not. You were ready to rise, but certain energies around you would have sabotaged your elevation. Heaven shows me that if restoration had come too early, you might have trusted the wrong voice, placed your gift in the wrong hands, or shared your vision with someone who would have misused it. You might have stepped into a blessing while still tied to people who only saw you as a resource, never as a soul. You might have walked into a new season carrying old wounds that would have reopened under pressure. And in the wisdom of heaven, Archangel Michael shielded you from stepping forward until the threat around you dissolved. This is why the delay felt so confusing. You were not being held back. You were being preserved. You were not being denied. You were being readied. You were not being ignored. You were being aligned with a divine timeline that guaranteed your restoration would not only arrive, but remain. Because heaven never gives you something only for it to be stolen again. When God restores, He restores with permanence. But there is something deeper that Archangel Michael wants to reveal. He says there was a spiritual battle happening around you, one you never fully saw, one that intensified whenever you were close to breakthrough. It manifested as sudden exhaustion, unexplained discouragement, or waves of fear that weren't truly yours. It showed up in delays, disruptions, misunderstandings, or moments when everything seemed to freeze. You thought you were fighting alone, but you weren't. Heaven was intervening constantly, shielding you from battles you didn't even know how to recognize. Heaven wants you to understand this. Every time something was delayed, it was because something dangerous was being removed from your path. Every time something slowed down, it was because something toxic was being dismantled behind the scenes. Every time you felt stuck, it was because angels were redirecting your steps away from traps laid in your blind spots. You were never off course. You were being guided around what could have destroyed you. Archangel Michael says you are entering a season where these invisible battles will cease. The interference that once drained you is losing power. The spiritual resistance that once clouded your judgment is dissolving. The fog you felt is lifting. The heaviness is breaking. And your spirit is rising with a clarity you have not felt in a very long time. Heaven is preparing to release an instruction to you. Something simple, something gentle, yet something powerful enough to accelerate your restoration. But before that instruction is given, you must understand one more piece of this unfolding revelation. The very thing you lost, the very thing that broke your heart, the very thing that slipped away, it is not returning in its old form, because the old form could not survive the spiritual climate you are stepping into. Restoration does not bring back the past. It resurrects what is divine. It strengthens what was weakened. It transforms what was once fragile. And Archangel Michael says you will soon recognize the signs. They will be subtle at first. Unexpected peace, renewed energy, sudden ideas, people appearing who feel aligned, opportunities opening that once seemed sealed, a shift in your dreams, a stirring in your intuition. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that your restoration has entered motion. But before we step deeper into the next revelation, take one moment and breathe. A lot has been poured into your spirit, and your heart needs to settle into this truth. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are divinely on time. And the next unveiling is going to show you exactly what is being restored to you, down to the nature, the purpose, and the divine intention behind it. Hold on, because what comes next carries a breakthrough that will make your spirit tremble with recognition. Stay right here, The unfolding is just beginning. Before moving forward, remember to support the mission of this message. Like this video, comment to keep this message alive, share it with someone who needs it today, and subscribe so you never miss what heaven releases next. Type "I align with heaven's timing" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 3333 is now activated. When a message like this reaches souls across the world, it is because someone chose to become a carrier of God's light. Your support is not about helping a channel grow. It is about helping heaven touch lives that are silently breaking. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you become part of the river God is releasing, pouring restoration, clarity, and hope into thousands of hearts. This is the moment where the verse becomes alive, where God says, "I will open the windows of heaven over those who pour back into my work," and that promise is speaking directly to you now. I invite you, yes, you, to take your place in this divine movement. Let your giving be a prophetic act, a declaration that you choose to stand with the message heaven is sending into the world. As you release, may God release back into your life double what was lost. Step into it with boldness. Give as heaven leads you. Beloved vessel of divine restoration, as we enter this next unfolding, Archangel Michael steps forward with a presence that feels like a shield, a warmth, a fierce protection that has surrounded you long before you ever knew it. He says you have now crossed into the depth of this message, the chamber where truth becomes revelation and revelation becomes power. What you are about to hear will not only explain your past, but prepare your spirit for what is rising ahead. You have reached the moment where the mystery begins to open in full clarity. Archangel Michael reveals that your restoration carries a specific signature. It is not random. It is not vague. It is not general. It is deeply personal, divinely crafted, and woven into the exact shape of the wounds you endured. Heaven has been studying the cracks in your spirit, the places where disappointment left marks, the corners of your heart where silence grew heavy. Not to shame you, but to heal you with precision. Heaven restores with accuracy, not guesses. And everything that was lost in your life had a spiritual root that must be understood before it returns to you in its redeemed form. Heaven wants you to know that part of what delayed your restoration was the emotional residue left behind by your last season. There were moments when you tried to move forward, but your spirit was still tethered to the echoes of pain. You wanted to rise, but parts of you were still carrying memories that drained your strength. You tried to forget, but your heart kept replaying scenes you wished you could erase. Archangel Michael says heaven could not pour new oil into vessels that still held the residue of the old season. The healing had to come first. The cleansing had to come before the blessing. The silence had to come before the voice. And the stillness had to come before the movement. Heaven shows me a spiritual image, your spirit standing in a hallway with many doors. During the delay season, none of the doors open. Not because they were locked, but because heaven needed you to stand still long enough to see which door was meant for you. When too many options appear at once, the wrong door can feel right simply because it's nearest. But heaven wanted you to choose with clarity, not urgency. And now that clarity is emerging. The fog is lifting. The noise is fading. You are beginning to recognize what aligns with your spirit and what drains it. You are beginning to see who is sent by God and who only arrived through convenience or familiarity. Archangel Michael says that restoration is not simply the return of what was lost. It is the removal of what never belonged. Some things were taken from you because they were weak points in your life. Some were removed because they anchored you to smallness. Some were stripped away because they carried spiritual weight that would have slowed down your purpose. And the moment those things were cleared, heaven began preparing the space for what is now rising toward you. Something bigger, something divinely timed, something protected. Heaven emphasizes that the restoration coming will not involve the same patterns that once hurt you. You are being rebuilt from the inside out. Your endurance is stronger. Your discernment is sharper. Your boundaries are healthier. Your intuition is awake. What hurt you once will not hurt you again, because heaven has equipped you with wisdom born from seasons of silence and storms you survived. You are not returning to who you were. You are stepping into who you were meant to be. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that the reason this message feels intense, the reason it resonates in the deepest parts of you, is because your spirit has been waiting for this revelation. You may have felt unprepared, lost, tired, or emotionally scattered at times, but your spirit has been listening, observing, absorbing, and aligning the entire time. Even when your mind doubted, your spirit remained attentive. Even when you felt disconnected, heaven stayed connected to you. Now, heaven says there is a shift happening in the atmosphere around you. You may feel it as sudden clarity, a lightness in your chest, a release of pressure in your thoughts, or a gentle strength rising in your heart. These are not emotions. These are confirmations that your spirit has stepped into the restoration flow. The old grip is loosening. The old fear is fading. The old memories are losing their sting. You are not the version of yourself who lost something. You are the version heaven has been shaping to receive something greater. Archangel Michael also reveals that the restoration approaching you carries speed. What felt slow will accelerate. What felt distant will draw near. What felt impossible will unfold with ease. Heaven waited for this exact spiritual posture within you, because blessings given before readiness become burdens. But blessings given at the right moment become breakthroughs. And you, beloved, are standing in that precise moment now. Before we move further, heaven asks you to stay with the message. Not because you are obligated, but because your spirit is being repositioned as you listen. Every word is aligning you. Every revelation is preparing you. The next unveiling will reveal the form of your restoration, why it carries your name, and how heaven intends to deliver it. Pause your heart. Breathe. The next unfolding will open the door you sensed was coming. Type "I am ready for my release" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 5511 is now released. Chosen spirit of divine awakening, as you move into this next revelation, Archangel Michael steps beside you with a clarity that feels like sunlight after a long night. His presence now is not only protective, but instructive. He says the moment you have entered is sacred, because this is where heaven begins to reveal the shape, the direction, and the purpose of what is returning to you. Restoration is not random. It is tailored. And your restoration has been in preparation long before you ever recognized its absence. Archangel Michael shows me that what you lost was not simply something external. It was connected to your identity, your purpose, your confidence, your stability, or your direction. Somewhere along your journey, life dimmed a part of your flame. Not because you were weak, but because you had been carrying burdens that were never meant to be carried alone. You poured into others until you were empty. You stood strong for people who crumbled at the slightest wind. You fought battles in silence while others leaned on your strength. And in that process, a piece of you grew tired, unsure, or quietly wounded. Heaven says the restoration coming to you is not merely a return of something you lost. It is a return of you. The powerful you, the discerning you, the spiritually awake you, the confident you who used to dream without fear, the version of you who once carried vision, hunger, and destiny in every step. The version that life tried to dim, but heaven refused to let die. Archangel Michael says your spirit has always remained fire, even when your emotions felt like ash. Now, he wants you to understand how heaven prepares restoration. It does not send it back in the way you remembered it. It sends it in the way you need it. For some, this restoration will appear as renewed passion, a spark you thought had faded forever. For others, it will appear as opportunities that feel almost unreal, opportunities that align perfectly with your spirit. And for many, it will appear through clarity. Clarity about direction, clarity about relationships, clarity about purpose, clarity about the weight you no longer need to carry. But there is something incredibly important Archangel Michael wants to show you. Restoration requires recognition. If heaven sends something before your eyes are trained to see it, you might overlook it. This is why the last season felt so isolating. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was sharpening you. Your spirit had to be refined so that when the blessing arrives, you recognize it, not by sight, but by alignment. Not by appearance, but by truth. Not by emotion, but by spiritual confirmation. Heaven says there is a reason you experience sudden shifts lately. Unexpected endings. Sudden clarity. Unexplainable peace. A release of old connections. A quiet detachment from things that once held your attention. These were not emotional changes. These were spiritual calibrations. Heaven was rearranging your internal world to match what is coming toward you. Restoration requires room, and heaven has been making that room in your life. Archangel Michael reveals another layer now, one that your spirit has been secretly sensing. What is coming back to you is coming with acceleration. Not slow, not delayed, not heavy. Fast, light, directed. And the reason this acceleration is possible is because the obstacles that once blocked your path are now broken. The spiritual resistance that once clouded your intuition has been dismantled. You are entering a season where what once took years will now unfold in weeks. What seemed impossible will show movement. What appeared dormant will begin to rise. But you must understand something essential. Restoration comes to the heart that is ready, not to the heart that is desperate. Desperation asks, but readiness receives. And Archangel Michael says your heart has finally entered readiness. Not because everything is perfect, not because you feel strong every day, but because you are spiritually aligned. Restoration recognizes alignment like a seed recognizes rain. It responds. It awakens. It grows. Now heaven draws your attention to one more key truth. The restoration coming to your life will not return quietly. It will not return unnoticed. When it comes, it will shift your atmosphere. It will change how you speak, how you decide, how you move, how you dream. It will call you into a higher version of yourself. A version that refuses to settle, refuses to shrink, refuses to return to old patterns. This is why the preparation felt intense. Heaven was not just restoring your life. Heaven was restoring your capacity, your ability to carry blessing, your readiness to handle responsibility, your strength to walk in purpose, your sensitivity to angelic guidance. Restoration is not simply about receiving more. It is about becoming more. Archangel Michael says the next revelation will show you how heaven plans to deliver your restoration, where it will appear first, and how you can recognize the signs quickly when they begin to unfold around you. The next unveiling carries the blueprint, the structure, the divine sequence of events that will mark the beginning of your new season. Before we move to that deeper level, pause. Let your spirit settle. What is coming next will connect pieces you never realized belonged together. Type "I rise" into my return in the comments if this message is awakening something within you. Blessing code 7744 has been released. Beloved soul standing at the edge of divine renewal, as you step into this next revelation, Archangel Michael moves before you with purposeful steps, as if guiding you deeper into a sacred chamber where only those aligned with heaven's timing are allowed to enter. His voice carries weight now, gentle but firm, loving but authoritative. He says you are entering the moment where heaven begins to reveal not only what is returning to you, but how it will return. Restoration has pathways, patterns, and sequences, and you are about to witness the unfolding of each one. Heaven shows me an image of your life as a field that once looked barren, a place where nothing seemed to grow despite your efforts. You poured your heart into opportunities that led nowhere. You invested your energy into people who did not water anything back into your spirit. You tried to move forward, but the soil beneath your feet felt dry, almost resistant to anything new. Archangel Michael says this barrenness was never a sign of failure. It was a sign that the season had expired. When heaven closes a season, nothing in that season can flourish, no matter how much effort you give. That dryness was divine redirection. But now, everything changes. Archangel Michael shows me a fresh rain falling over the same field, soaking into the ground, softening what was once hardened, awakening what was once dormant. Heaven says this rain represents revelation, clarity, and renewal entering your life. You may have already begun noticing hints of this, ideas returning, motivation awakening, old dreams resurfacing, sudden inspiration appearing at unexpected times. These are early signs that restoration is beginning to manifest internally before it appears externally. Heaven always restores from the inside out, never from the outside in. External change without internal alignment creates chaos, but internal restoration creates stability, wisdom, discernment, grounding. Archangel Michael says heaven has been preparing your inner world to handle the weight of what is returning. This is why you have been noticing emotional shifts, feeling more detached from old cycles, feeling less reactive to old triggers, feeling more aware of who drains you and who nourishes you. You are not imagining these changes. Your spirit has been undergoing a quiet restructuring, a divine rewiring to make you ready for what is coming. Archangel Michael now reveals something specific. The first sign of your restoration will appear as movement in an area that has been stagnant the longest. Heaven is intentional with timing. The place where you felt most stuck will become the place where heaven breathes first. For some, this movement will appear in the area of relationships, clarity, closure, healing, or divine connections. For others, it will appear in finances, unexpected provision, opportunities, open doors. And for many, it will appear in their inner strength, confidence returning, purpose awakening, resilience rising. Heaven emphasizes that when this movement begins, it will feel different from anything you have experienced before. It will not feel forced. It will not feel confusing. It will not feel heavy. It will feel natural, aligned, perfectly timed. You will sense the difference instantly, because it will feel like your spirit recognizing a familiar melody, something that was yours all along. Archangel Michael shows me that the second sign of restoration will appear through unexpected alignment. People you haven't met yet will suddenly appear in your life with answers, support, or opportunities. Conversations will flow easily. Doors will open smoothly. Solutions will arrive faster. You will find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because of luck, but because heaven is orchestrating each step. These alignments are divinely timed, strategically placed, and protected from interference. The third sign will be discernment sharpening. You will begin seeing intentions clearly. Your intuition will quicken. Situations that once confused you will suddenly make sense. Patterns that were once invisible will become obvious. You will know which path is yours and which is not. This sharpening is heaven's way of ensuring that nothing and no one can interrupt the restoration process unfolding in your life. Archangel Michael says the fourth sign of restoration is perhaps the most powerful. Your spirit will feel ready again. Ready to dream. Ready to try. Ready to move. Ready to believe. Heaven cannot release what you are not prepared to carry. But when readiness appears, blessings follow with speed. Heaven now reveals why the timing is so precise. You have been positioned in a place of divine intersection, where past lessons meet future opportunities, where old strength meets new calling, where broken pieces meet restored purpose. In this exact moment, heaven is weaving together threads that once seemed disconnected. Every delay, every loss, every unanswered question is being used as part of the design of your restoration. Archangel Michael wants you to hear this next part with your spirit, not just your ears. You are not waiting for restoration. Restoration is waiting for your recognition. The moment your spirit aligns with heaven's timing, what belongs to you begins to rise without delay. And right now, in this very moment, your spirit is aligning perfectly. Heaven says what is coming toward you carries your name, your preparation, your lessons, your growth. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is not uncertain. It is secured, sealed, and delivered under divine instruction. Before the next revelation unfolds, hold this truth deeply. You are being positioned for release that will touch every area of your life. Stay close, because the next moment carries instructions that will guide you into the fullness of what is returning. Type "I received the NEW rain" in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 2828 has been released. Sacred one aligned with heaven's unfolding. As you step into this next depth, Archangel Michael moves closer with the authority of one who has walked beside you through every shadowed valley and every silent night. His presence now carries not only revelation, but instruction. He says you have reached the turning point, the moment where understanding begins to merge with manifestation, where what was once unseen begins to shape itself into reality. This is the moment when heaven starts positioning you for the impact of what is coming. Archangel Michael reveals that restoration is not simply a return. It is a reordering. Heaven is not giving you back what you lost in its old form. Heaven is realigning your entire path so that what returns fits your new identity, new capacity, and new season. This is why certain doors closed even when you tried to reopen them. This is why some people drifted away even when you wanted clarity. This is why old cycles felt draining even when you tried to revive them. Heaven was removing the parts of your life that could not carry the weight of your restored future. Heaven shows me that you have entered a time of divine positioning. Positioning is not movement on the outside. It is movement on the inside. It is the shifting of the heart, the awakening of discernment, the quiet strengthening of the spirit. You may have noticed that you do not tolerate certain behaviors anymore. You may have realized your spirit no longer responds to the same emotional patterns. You may have felt a sudden release from things that once held you tightly. These are not emotional changes. They are spiritual upgrades. Heaven is matching your inner frequency with the future that is approaching you. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something vital. Your restoration has a direction. It is not coming randomly. It is coming toward an area of your life that has been longing for breakthrough longer than any other. Heaven is deliberate. Where the wound was deepest, the restoration will be strongest. Where the silence was longest, the voice will be clearest. Where the confusion was thickest, the clarity will be brightest. Heaven reveals that some of the emotions you felt recently, restlessness, anticipation, quietness, separation from old attachments, were signs that the spiritual atmosphere around you was changing. The heaviness you once carried has been lifting because the spiritual pressures that once surrounded you have been breaking. The confusion you felt is dissolving because heaven has been clearing the noise from your path. The sudden moments of peace you experienced were not random. They were glimpses of your restored season. Archangel Michael explains that restoration follows a pattern. First comes the breaking away. Then comes the internal strengthening. Then comes the revelation. And after revelation comes the release. You are standing inside the revelation phase now, which means you are close, so close to the release phase. When heaven releases something, it arrives with purpose, clarity, and divine precision. Nothing will come too early or too late. It will come exactly on time. Heaven shows me a vision of you standing with keys in your hand, spiritual keys representing access to new beginnings, opportunities, alignments, relationships, and stages of your destiny. These keys are not given until the heart is trained to handle them. And Archangel Michael says your heart has finally reached that place. You have walked through seasons that strengthened you without your awareness. You have endured things that shaped your spiritual resilience. You have survived moments that would have broken someone who did not carry your inner fire. Heaven wants you to know this. The restoration coming to you is not fragile. It is fortifying. It has been prepared in the unseen world for longer than you realize. What is on its way is something heaven protected, preserved, and perfected until your spirit was ready to receive it without fear, without confusion, and without sabotage from old wounds. But Archangel Michael reveals a deeper truth now. One that will speak directly to the core of your journey. Part of your restoration involves something you have silently longed for. Something you never stopped hoping for even when you pretended you had moved on. Heaven heard that quiet longing. Heaven saw the desire you did not voice. Heaven witnessed the tear you never let fall. And heaven has been preparing an answer. Heaven wants you to understand that divine answers are never late. They may feel delayed, but they are never late. Heaven was aligning events, people, timing, and spiritual conditions so that what you receive is pure, stable, protected, and aligned with your highest calling. Had it come earlier, it would have been attacked. Had it come earlier, you might have shared it with the wrong people. Had it come earlier, the foundation beneath, you would not have held the weight. Archangel Michael now prepares your spirit for what is next. He says the next revelation will unveil the emotional and spiritual transformation that will occur as heaven's restoration begins to manifest in your life. What happens inwardly is just as powerful as what happens outwardly, and the next unfolding will show you how heaven is preparing to shift your emotional landscape, your inner stability, and the way you perceive your own destiny. Before stepping into the deeper knowledge, pause for one breath. Feel the alignment happening inside you. What is rising is real. What is approaching is divinely timed. What is being restored carries heaven's fingerprint. Hold steady, sacred one. The unfolding continues, and the next revelation will stir your spirit in ways you have longed for. Type "I walk into alignment" in the comments if this message resonates with your soul. Blessing code 6060 has been released. Beloved carrier of heaven's awakening, as you step into this next sacred unfolding, Archangel Michael's presence surrounds you like a warm shield, steady and unwavering. He says you have reached a pivotal threshold in this journey, a point where your inner transformation is about to collide with external manifestation. This is the moment where heaven prepares your emotions, your spirit, your thinking, and your energy for the restoration that is about to touch your life. What comes next is not only revelation, it is preparation. Archangel Michael reveals that the emotional landscape of your life has been shifting quietly for weeks, maybe months. You have felt moments of sudden peace for no reason, moments of heaviness without explanation, moments of unusual clarity, moments of distance from people or places that once felt familiar. None of these were random. Heaven has been preparing your internal world for the impact of what is returning. Restoration is not just about what you receive. It is about who you become while receiving it. Heaven shows me that certain emotions within you have been releasing. Old fears have loosened. Old insecurities have faded. Old disappointments have lost their grip. You may not have noticed the exact moment these shifts occurred, but heaven has been working quietly, removing emotional residue, so the blessing coming toward you does not rest on broken foundations. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that heaven takes your heart seriously. Heaven does not give fragile blessings to wounded hearts. Heaven heals the heart first so the blessing remains secure. Archangel Michael now reveals something powerful. As the restoration begins to manifest in your life, your emotional world will shift again, not in chaos, but in elevation. The heaviness you carried will begin to lift. The exhaustion you felt will turn into quiet strength. The discouragement that once shadowed your steps will dissolve. Heaven is bringing stability to the places that once felt unstable. Confidence will rise. Peace will deepen. Discernment will sharpen. All of this is part of the restoration process. Heaven wants you to understand that your spirit has grown stronger through every delay you endured. The quiet seasons built endurance. The painful seasons built wisdom. The slow seasons built patience. The uncertain seasons built discernment. You are no longer the version of yourself who lost something. You are now the version heaven shaped to receive something greater. Archangel Michael shows me an image of you standing in a room filled with old mirrors. Mirrors that reflected outdated versions of you. Mirrors shaped by pain. Mirrors shaped by past mistakes. Mirrors shaped by old identities. Heaven says you have stepped out of that room. You are no longer defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what heaven is restoring within you. A new reflection is forming. One that sees clearly. One that recognizes worth. One that moves with intention. Heaven now brings your attention to relationships that have shifted around you. Some people grew distant because their part in your story ended. Some connections faded because they were tied to your old season. Some individuals no longer feel aligned because heaven recalibrated your spirit. This was not rejection. This was reorganization. Heaven is preparing to place the right people around you. People who uplift, not drain. People who contribute, not take. People who align with your destiny, not your wounds. Archangel Michael emphasizes that you are entering a season where emotional clarity will become one of your greatest strengths. You will know when something is for you and when it is not. You will feel peace guiding you. You will feel intuition alerting you. You will sense divine alignment with greater accuracy than ever before. This clarity is not accidental. It is a gift of restoration. Heaven shows me that as your emotional landscape shifts, your spiritual authority will rise with it. You will begin to speak differently, move differently, expect differently. You will no longer settle for half-hearted opportunities or unstable situations. You will not be drawn to chaos. You will not be swayed by uncertainty. Your spirit has matured past the point of desperation. You are entering the phase of destiny. Archangel Michael wants you to hold this truth deeply. The restoration coming to your life will not overwhelm you. It will strengthen you. It will not confuse you. It will guide you. It will not drain you. It will fill you. Heaven is not giving you a blessing that breaks you. Heaven is giving you a blessing that builds you. Now, heaven prepares to reveal in the next unfolding how this restoration will move from your internal world into your physical reality. You will begin to see outward signs, tangible shifts, open doors, and divine appointments that confirm everything spoken to your spirit. What comes next will be the bridge between inner transformation and outer manifestation. But for now, pause. Let your spirit breathe. Let your heart prepare. What is rising is enormous, and heaven wants you to receive it without fear, without hesitation, and without shrinking. Before we continue, help this message reach those who desperately need clarity today. Like this message, comment to keep it alive, share it with someone whose spirit is waiting for hope, and subscribe so you remain aligned with what heaven releases next. Type "I rise in my restoration" in the comments if this speaks directly to you. Blessing code 8181 is now activated. Heaven is pouring restoration into countless lives through messages like this, but it reaches them because someone chooses to stand with this mission. When you strengthen this work through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not funding content. You are fueling a divine assignment. You become part of the river God is sending to broken souls, lost hearts, and weary spirits. This is where the living word becomes active, where God says, "Those who pour into my light will never walk in darkness," and that promise becomes personal over you. I am inviting you, yes, you, to take your place in this heavenly movement. Let your support today be a prophetic act, a declaration of faith, a seed that heaven will multiply back into your life. Step boldly. Release with purpose. Heaven responds to every act done in the name of light. Beloved vessel standing at the threshold of manifestation. As you enter this next phase, Archangel Michael steps forward with a presence that feels like the steadying of a divine hand on your shoulder. His voice carries a tone of both urgency and gentleness, because what you are about to hear is not only revelation, but activation. Heaven has prepared you internally, emotionally, spiritually. Now, heaven begins to shape the path before you. This is the moment where restoration shifts from the unseen realm into the visible world. Archangel Michael reveals that the spiritual groundwork has already been completed. The inner cleansing, the emotional realignment, the breaking of old patterns, the sharpening of discernment, the removal of the shadows that once dimmed your clarity. All of this was necessary so that the restoration coming toward you would not be hindered by past wounds or old mindsets. Now that your spirit is standing strong, heaven is ready to release visible signs. Heaven shows me the first external sign as movement, a subtle yet undeniable shift in your surroundings. You may begin noticing opportunities appearing in places where doors were once locked tightly. A message, a call, a conversation, a chance meeting. These are not coincidences. Heaven has begun arranging the physical pieces required for your restoration. People are being positioned. Circumstances are being aligned. Paths are being cleared. Archangel Michael says the movement may start small, but it will grow quickly. Heaven also reveals that some opportunities coming your way may not look the way you expected. They may come in unfamiliar packaging. They may appear humbling at first. They may feel unexpected. This is because heaven often hides blessings in forms that require discernment rather than emotion. Your restoration is layered, and heaven is releasing the first layer now. An open door that will lead to another, and then another, until the full restoration stands before you. Archangel Michael wants you to understand the importance of recognizing divine timing. You have stepped into a season where hesitation can delay blessings, but alignment can accelerate them. Each step you take with faith will unlock the next step with ease. Heaven is no longer pulling you out of old patterns. Heaven is pushing you forward into new purpose. The momentum you feel is real. The anticipation rising within you is spiritual confirmation. Heaven now shows me the second external sign: clarity in relationships. People who are meant to walk with you will begin to show consistency. Their intentions will become clear. Their support will feel genuine. Their presence will feel peaceful. And those who are not meant for your next chapter will reveal themselves through distance, silence, instability, or emotional confusion. This shift is not personal. It is divine filtration. Heaven is sorting your environment to ensure your restoration remains protected. Archangel Michael emphasizes that some people were only meant to walk with you until this moment. Their exit is not rejection. Their distance is not loss. Heaven is removing voices that would weaken your restoration or influence your decisions in the wrong direction. You are being surrounded with people who match your elevation, not your old wounds. The third external sign Heaven reveals is an acceleration of alignment. Things that were once difficult for you will begin to flow. Tasks that felt heavy will become easy. Ideas will come naturally. Opportunities will present themselves with clarity. You will feel inspired again. You will feel capable again. You will feel connected to purpose again. Heaven says this acceleration is a sign that the path before you is divinely paved. When heaven is in the movement, struggle dissolves and direction becomes obvious. Archangel Michael shows me that the fourth external sign is a sense of divine protection. You may begin noticing obstacles disappearing, conflicts resolving, or negative influences being removed without your involvement. Heaven is clearing the path so that nothing can interfere with the blessing being prepared for you. You are being shielded from conversations you do not need to hear, situations you do not need to face, and people you do not need to carry. Heaven is guarding your steps with precision. Heaven now reveals something significant. The restoration approaching you will enter your life quietly but grow loudly. It will begin as peace, then appear as opportunity, then unfold into blessing, then become breakthrough. Your life will not shift all at once, but it will shift consistently. Every week, every day, every step will bring new confirmations that heaven is working in your favor. Archangel Michael wants you to settle one truth in your spirit. What is coming to you cannot be stopped. Not by fear. Not by people. Not by delay. Not by your past. Heaven has sealed your restoration, and the movement has already begun. You may not see the full picture yet, but heaven is revealing it piece by piece so that your heart remains steady and your spirit remains aligned. Now heaven prepares you for what comes next. The next revelation will show you the spiritual acceleration that happens when heaven's timing meets human obedience. You are close, so close, to the moment where restoration overtakes your life, unfolding faster than you expect, deeper than you imagine, and stronger than anything you once lost. Pause your heart here. Feel the alignment happening. Feel the shift. Feel the truth settling into your spirit. What is rising is not just change, it is fulfillment. Type "I see the signs" in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 4747 has now been released. Beloved soul walking into divine acceleration, as you step into this next unfolding, Archangel Michael's presence intensifies around you like a rising wind. Not chaotic, but powerful, steady, and unmistakably holy. He says you have now reached the moment where heaven begins to accelerate what has long been dormant in your life. The shifts you sensed, The internal alignments, the emotional clearings, the subtle signs, they were all preparing you for what begins now. The movement of restoration has entered its rapid phase. Archangel Michael reveals that acceleration happens only when three realms align: your spirit, your timing, and heaven's instruction. When these three join together, nothing can hinder the momentum heaven creates. And right now, all three are in agreement. Your spirit is awake. Your timing is correct. Heaven is ready. This combination is rare, powerful, and spiritually charged. Heaven moves fastest in seasons like this, because nothing is resisting the flow. Heaven shows me that acceleration will appear in surprising ways. What once felt distant will suddenly come close. What felt blocked will suddenly open. What felt impossible will suddenly feel natural. You may begin to notice sudden clarity in decisions you once struggled with. You may feel bursts of energy at the exact moments you need it. Ideas you pushed aside may reignite with fresh direction. These are signs that heaven is moving through your steps, guiding your thoughts, stabilizing your emotions, and increasing your spiritual capacity. Archangel Michael now reveals a profound truth. Acceleration requires surrender, not control. When heaven moves quickly, you cannot cling to old fears or outdated expectations. You must let the flow lead you. You must trust the signs. You must follow the inner nudges. Heaven will guide you step by step, but it will not reveal everything at once. This is not to confuse you. It is to protect you. The enemy cannot interfere with what he cannot predict. Heaven shows me a path unfolding in front of you, not all at once, but like dawn rising slowly across a horizon. As you take one step, the next becomes visible. As you commit to one instruction, the next instruction unlocks. This is acceleration through obedience. And Archangel Michael says your obedience does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be willing. Heaven can work with willingness. Heaven can multiply willingness. Heaven can transform willingness into destiny. Archangel Michael emphasizes that as acceleration begins, distractions may try to rise. Old habits, old emotions, old thoughts, old connections. These are not returning to stay. They are rising so you can recognize them and release them fully. What once held power over your spirit will now lose its grip because you are seeing it from a higher perspective. Your elevation exposes what no longer belongs. This exposure is not punishment. It is purification. Heaven removes, refines, and recalibrates you in real time during acceleration. Heaven wants you to understand that divine acceleration often attracts unexpected support. You may begin connecting with people who carry wisdom you need, influence you lack, or insight that unlocks your next step. These individuals are heaven-sent. Their timing is not random. Their presence is purposeful. It is as though heaven has woven them into your path at this exact moment so you can rise without carrying the burden alone. Archangel Michael says you will also notice that your intuition becomes sharper during acceleration. You will feel nudges that guide you away from certain decisions. You will feel peace guiding you toward others. You will sense when to move and when to wait. These sensations are not emotions. They are angelic signals. Heaven communicates through subtle movements in your spirit, and in this season, those signals will become unmistakable. Heaven shows me that acceleration carries spiritual speed, but not chaos. You will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel carry. Things will move fast, but not in a way that drains you, in a way that energizes you. When heaven accelerates your steps, everything that once weighed you down becomes light. Everything that once confused you becomes clear. Everything that once intimidated you becomes small. You begin to see obstacles from a divine vantage point, and they no longer carry the power to deter you. Archangel Michael reveals something sacred now. Your restoration includes divine compensation. Not only will you receive what was lost, but heaven will add what was delayed, increase what was diminished, and multiply what was stolen. This is the nature of divine acceleration. Heaven does not return things in equal measure. Heaven returns in abundance. Restoration is heaven's justice, and justice is always multiplied. Heaven now prepares your heart for a deeper truth. The momentum entering your life will require you to release the need for control. Your path is being shaped by forces beyond your understanding, guided by divine hands, protected by angelic intervention. You are not stepping into this acceleration alone. Archangel Michael is clearing the way before you, stationing angels around your journey, ensuring that every step you take is guarded, guided, and divinely orchestrated. The next unfolding will reveal how this acceleration will affect the relationships, opportunities, and environments around you. You will see what is meant to join your journey and what is meant to fall away. You will witness the separation of the old and the arrival of the new. This next revelation will show you how heaven handles the transitions on your behalf. Before you move forward, breathe deeply and let this truth settle. You are not stepping into a fast season. You are stepping into a fulfilled one. What is coming will not only catch you by surprise, it will make sense of everything you endured. Type "I move with heaven's speed" in the comments if this message speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 9292 has now been released. Beloved one rising into the fullness of divine movement, as you enter this next sacred unveiling, Archangel Michael's presence feels different, stronger, closer, almost as if he is standing directly behind you, guiding the path you are about to walk. He says this is the moment where acceleration begins to shape your environment. Up until now, heaven has been working within you, cleansing, strengthening, aligning, awakening. But now heaven begins working around you, shifting the spaces, relationships, and circumstances that will either support or hinder the restoration you are stepping into. Archangel Michael reveals that when heaven accelerates a person, heaven also reorganizes their surroundings. People who were once central to your story may naturally drift because they no longer align with the higher frequency your spirit is carrying. This distancing is not betrayal. It is spiritual sorting. Heaven is clearing the noise from your environment so that nothing interrupts the clarity, opportunities, and blessings entering your life. Do not be startled if certain individuals become quieter or more distant. Their season with you may have served its purpose. Heaven shows me that new connections will begin appearing as unexpectedly as morning light. Individuals who match your growth, your vision, your elevation, your healed identity will show up with precision. They will feel familiar even if you have never met. Their energy will feel safe. Their presence will feel intentional, and their influence will align perfectly with where heaven is guiding you. These people are part of your restoration. They are carriers of clarity, supporters of purpose, bridges to opportunities, and spiritual reinforcements assigned to strengthen your next chapter. Archangel Michael wants you to understand that divine acceleration tests the integrity of every connection in your life. Those who are spiritually aligned will naturally move closer. Those who are secretly envious or carrying hidden agendas will reveal themselves. This revelation is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to protect your restoration. Heaven will not allow anyone with the wrong spirit to stand too close to the blessings assigned to you. This sorting is divine mercy. Heaven also shows me that your physical environment is shifting. There may be changes in your routines, changes in your responsibilities, or changes in your location. You may feel an inner pull toward new spaces or unusual discomfort in old ones. These sensations are not random. They are your spirit's response to heaven's rearranging. You are outgrowing environments that once felt comfortable, because heaven is preparing you for a place where your restored identity can expand. Archangel Michael reveals something deeper. Acceleration will often require detachment before elevation. You cannot rise while holding what heaven is asking you to release. Some connections will fade, some habits will fall away, some familiar cycles will break. Each release opens space for a higher blessing. Each detachment creates room for divine addition. Heaven never subtracts without preparing to multiply. Heaven now directs your attention to opportunities. During acceleration, opportunities will come quickly, but not every opportunity will be meant for you. This is where your sharpened intuition becomes vital. Heaven says you will know the right opportunities by the peace they bring. Your spirit will feel settled. Your thoughts will feel clear. Your emotions will feel stable. Conversely, wrong opportunities will feel heavy, rushed, chaotic, or confusing. Peace is the compass heaven uses in this season. Follow it. Archangel Michael shows me that acceleration will also affect your mindset. Old fears will no longer hold the same power. Old insecurities will no longer control your decisions. Old doubts will no longer silence your voice. You will notice newfound boldness rising in you. The things you once questioned, you will begin to embrace with confidence. The dreams you once set aside, you will revisit with courage. Heaven is strengthening your mind to handle the impact of restoration. Heaven wants you to recognize the subtle shifts happening in your thoughts. Ideas will come faster. Solutions will appear intuitively. Inspiration will rise without effort. Heaven is rewiring your mental landscape to make room for creativity, strategy, and elevation. You will begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. What felt overwhelming will now feel manageable. What felt beyond your reach will now feel divinely accessible. Archangel Michael reveals a profound truth now. The people, opportunities, and environments that remain in your life during acceleration are the ones heaven has chosen to accompany you into your next chapter. These are the individuals who will witness your restoration, support your progress, celebrate your victories, and walk with you through growth. Heaven is not just restoring your life, it is restoring your community, your alignment, your circle. Heaven prepares your heart for what comes next. The next revelation carries the culmination of everything you have walked through so far. It holds the final unlocking of your restoration, the moment where all the pieces come together and heaven reveals the fullness of what is being returned to you. This next unfolding will be the completion, the activation, and the sealing of this divine message. For now, breathe deeply. Feel the shifts around you. Feel the clarity rising. Feel the old falling away. You are closer than you realize. Type "I welcome divine alignment" in the comments if this message speaks directly to your spirit. Blessing code 5252 has now been released. Beloved soul chosen for divine completion, as you enter this final unveiling, Archangel Michael steps forward with a radiance that feels like the closing of a sacred circle. His presence is powerful yet tender, as though he has been waiting for this exact moment to release the fullness of heaven's message over your life. He says everything you have walked through from the beginning of this journey until now has prepared you for what is being declared in this final revelation. What you are about to hear is the sealing of the promise, the unlocking of the restoration, and the divine confirmation that heaven has begun to restore what was lost. Archangel Michael reveals that you have reached the pinnacle of divine timing. Every delay, every season of silence, every moment of confusion, every unexpected shift has led you here. You are not standing in front of this message by accident. You were guided here with intention. Heaven has been orchestrating your steps with precision, aligning your heart, strengthening your spirit, clearing your path, and preparing your environment so that nothing interferes with the restoration that is being released into your life. Heaven shows me that the restoration entering your life now is not partial, it is complete. It touches emotional places you never thought would heal. It restores clarity you thought you would never regain. It revives dreams you thought were long gone. It returns opportunities that once slipped through your fingers. And it brings peace into spaces where you once felt turmoil. Restoration is not only coming, it has begun. Archangel Michael reveals that heaven is restoring you in 4 distinct dimensions. First, heaven is restoring your confidence. The part of you that once doubted your worth, your voice, your calling, your value is being rebuilt with divine strength. You will no longer second-guess yourself. You will no longer shrink to keep others comfortable. You will no longer dim your light to fit into small spaces. Heaven is giving you your voice back, stronger than before. Second, heaven is restoring your clarity. You will no longer feel mentally foggy or spiritually confused. The direction that once seemed uncertain will now become clear. You will see the path ahead of you with new eyes. Decisions that once felt heavy will feel simple. Heaven is breaking the clouds surrounding your purpose and opening the sky above it. Third, heaven is restoring your opportunities. The doors that once closed are opening again, but this time they will not close. Opportunities that you thought you lost forever are returning in upgraded form. Heaven is preparing divine connections, supernatural alignments, and accelerated breakthroughs. What once felt delayed will now move quickly toward completion. Fourth, heaven is restoring your spiritual peace. The inner storms that once kept you awake at night, the quiet fears that lived beneath the surface, the unspoken worries that weighed on your chest, heaven is removing them. Peace is returning as a gentle presence, a constant companion, a guiding force. Heaven is restoring your ability to breathe deeply, trust fully, and rest confidently in the divine plan unfolding around you. Archangel Michael now reveals the truth your spirit has been waiting for. You are stepping into a season where what was lost will return in multiplied form. Heaven does not simply give back what you had. It gives back what you never knew you could carry. Restoration is not a replacement. It is a divine upgrade. What comes next is more aligned, more stable, more purposeful, and more blessed than anything you experienced before. Heaven says the signs of this restoration will begin appearing quickly. You will feel a surge of peace in moments that once triggered anxiety. You will experience unexpected breakthroughs in areas that once felt hopeless. You will receive confirmation after confirmation that heaven is guiding you. You will see tangible movement in your work, your relationships, your spiritual life, and your inner world. The shift will be undeniable. Archangel Michael reminds you of the sacred truth at the heart of this entire message. Do not delay. This message came to you because heaven needed your spirit awake, attentive, and aligned in this exact window of time. What is being restored to you cannot be delayed any longer. It cannot be blocked. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be reversed. Heaven has sealed your restoration with divine authority. Now heaven prepares you for the final instruction. Archangel Michael says the restoration you are stepping into requires one thing from you: openness, a willingness to receive, a heart ready to believe, a spirit willing to follow divine guidance. You have already shown your readiness by staying through this message. You have already demonstrated alignment by responding to the call. You have already positioned yourself for the blessing by not turning away from the revelation. Listen carefully now. Your restoration begins the moment you agree with what heaven has spoken. Not tomorrow. Not weeks from now. Now, in this moment, heaven has released the blessing. Archangel Michael has delivered the message. Your spirit has received the instruction. The shift is already in motion. You are stepping into the restored chapter of your life. Walk into it with confidence, with boldness, with peace, and with the knowing that heaven has come before you. Nothing has been lost that heaven cannot return. Nothing has been broken that heaven cannot heal. Nothing has been delayed that heaven cannot accelerate. Restoration is not coming. It has arrived. Type "I receive my completion" in the comments to seal this message. Blessing code 1010 is now released over you. Just as heaven has restored you through this message, it desires to restore countless others who are waiting in silence, searching for a word that lifts their soul. When you support this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not just giving, you are becoming a messenger of restoration. You are placing oil in the lamp of God's work, ensuring that His light reaches more hearts longing for renewal. This is where Scripture becomes living, where God says, "Those who pour into my house will see my hand pour into theirs," and that word becomes active over you. I am inviting you, yes, you, to step into this divine partnership. Let your support be a prophetic act, a seed placed in heavenly ground, and may God multiply it back into every area of your life. Stand boldly, release generously, and watch heaven respond in ways you never imagined.